Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had a fantastic week, and I hope you're looking forward to an amazing weekend. Everybody, in this class we are looking at IELTS reading about a very important visionary. You will soon find out who that is. This reading is taken from one of our academic IELTS exams. And this is a members chat class, which means that you need to be a channel member to join the chat. But of course, everybody is welcome to watch. We have lots of learning for you. And this class will be followed by listening test with parts 3 and 4 strategies on how to get those high scores. Students, all of these wonderful materials are coming from our websites at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. That's where you need to be. For general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. Both of our websites have tons and tons of information for you to improve your scores. This is our academic IELTS website here. We will use this in today's class for some reading interaction with our students. Just click this big red button that's right above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. I'm a certified British Council agent. We're an IELTS test registration center. And we help thousands of students every month succeed on their IELTS exam. So become one of our success stories. We really want to help you improve your English, your communication for IELTS and for life. So visit us there. General IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Same idea. Click that big red button. It really doesn't cost a lot, and it's a one-time payment for lifetime access right there. All right, members, you will be doing some reading through the student chat as well today. Welcome Amra, Romelia, Domenico, Dylan. Nice to have you all on board. Alexi, Carolina, our chat moderators. Fantastic to have you in the class. Lovely. Students, you do have this discount code, HIGHX, for the website to get that 10% discount. You do have apps for your phone. Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, and you do have Instagram for vocabulary, live class schedules, and some really fun and interesting reels for the IELTS. IELTS_A Help, GIELTS Help. And if you're stuck, if you have some questions, if you're getting frustrated, you don't know what to do, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. And for those of you who love studying from paperback books, go to Amazon, get our exams, academic IELTS, AE Helps Academic IELTS, or GE Helps General IELTS. We've got this class followed by listening, as I just mentioned, and then tomorrow we have a speaking part 2 and speaking part 3. The listening class that's coming up is a subscribers class, so make sure to subscribe so you can join that chat, everybody. All right, we'll get into some reading strategies here very quickly. Firstly, read the title and think about the information. Visualize it. Okay, let's take a look at today's reading here. Everybody, let's get focused. So again, this is reading, read with me. Okay, it's important that you're using this time to improve your reading. Focus on following the text and read as much as you can. Steve Wozniak, the visionary you've never heard of. All right. Just for fun, how many of you have actually heard about Steve Wozniak? Let's see how many members actually know who this Steve Wozniak is. Now, some of you in the class have been with me for a while, so you might have heard about Steve Wozniak through these live lessons. And that's great. By the way, students, it's always a very good idea to revisit reading passages that you have done once or twice. I think Fuang is saying, I have. Chayani is saying, I have. Domenico says, me. If you've heard about Steve Wozniak, great. If you haven't, no worries. You're about to hear of him now. Yeah, that's great. The visionary. What is a visionary? So you should definitely think about the title before you jump into the text, because it will help you to understand the text. Okay, the title is a summary. I still see way too many IELTS candidates skipping the title like it's unimportant. Eek! No, bad idea. Okay, titles are very important. They summarize the text for you. So first you want to read the title, visualize it. In this case, you have this word visionary. You have never heard of. Okay. And I believe the author is using, yeah, see that? It's quite interesting. The author is using present perfect. It's good to note that as well for the title. It's not by accident, right? Grammar is not used accidentally by good writers. Okay, so the visionary you have never heard of. Okay. All right. So Amra says a visionary is a person with strong vision, inventor. Okay, Amra, not bad. You should never try to define a word with the same word, even if it's a different word form. So if you say a person with a strong vision, what does vision mean in this case, right? So who is a visionary, right? Yes, it's an inventor. Absolutely. What else is included here? Okay. Yeah, Domenico says visionary means you can see what's going to happen in the future. Me, Domenico? Are you calling me a visionary? Why, thank you, good sir. I appreciate the compliment. Remember, Domenico, take out the you from your communication, but you're on the right track. Yes, Domenico, a person who can see into the future. Okay. They're also called futurists. Okay. A futurist, a person that can see the needs of the future. Okay. So it's an inventor, a futurist, a person that can see the needs of the future. That would be a visionary, okay? Not necessarily predict the future, Alexi, but I guess in some contexts. So not quite a fortune teller, but yeah. Domenico says peep into the future. Yeah, a person that can see the needs. Vision is sight, right? So for everybody out there, vision means sight. Okay, they're perfect synonyms. No, Chayani, a visionary is not necessarily a fortune teller. Let's not confuse the two. They're a little bit different. Okay, why the phrase have never heard of? Okay, so this is present perfect. Okay. Why is the author using the present perfect here? Okay. Well, hopefully you know the reasons that English uses present perfect. So English uses present perfect to emphasize experience, expectation, change over time, repetition over time, and achievement. Okay? So in this case, we can assume that what the author is emphasizing here is that they expect that you probably haven't heard of this person. The author uses present perfect to emphasize that he or she expects that you have not heard of this person before, but that they are very important. For some sort of achievement. Okay? All right, so that's why it's used here. Okay, so we can get that from the title here. Now, in the IELTS, what you want to do is read the title, start visualizing, start seeing this person. So start shaping Steve Wozniak in your head. You know, maybe you're getting a picture of Steve Wozniak here. And let's say you're a visionary. So you know that he's a bit chubby and he's got this characteristic beard because you are a visionary and you can see good old Steve here. Okay, there he is. There's Steve. Beautiful pink eyes. All right. Good. Put a face to him. Maybe you're Steve Wozniak. Become Steve Wozniak. Okay, Lexi says, I see a wise elder. I believe he is now, Lexi, so that's good. Okay, so we jump to the end of the text and we take a look at the given questions just so that we can, you know, get a better idea of what's going on here. And we read them. So read passage 2. Reading passage 2 has 7 paragraphs A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? Whew. Okay. Members, is it a good idea to skim read for this type of question where you have to match information for the paragraph? Note, by the way, you may use any letter more than once. Should I be skim reading for these? So should I try to skim read for Wozniak's youth? Or should I be skim reading for this keyword skyrockets? Or maybe I'll skim read for companies technology. Yeah, the answer is no, definitely not. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful with this. Just skim read. This one will not work. What if this answer is paragraph G? Yikes. That means you have to skim read the entire passage to maybe find the answer. Number one reason that you would not want to do that for this type of question. Secondly, everybody, there's a very good chance that you will not see Wozniak's youth. And of course, Wozniak, the name, will be everywhere in this article because it's about him, right? So, and you might not see youth. You might see something like when he was a child, right? So, during Wozniak's childhood, okay? So you might see something like that. Instead of seeing information about Wozniak's youth, okay? So you want to do what Amra is saying. You want to paraphrase them, and in the IELTS exam, you do this in your mind. I realize, students, you only have 20 minutes in the real IELTS, so I'm not telling you to waste time thinking about each question for a minute before you read. That's not a good idea. Okay, stock prices skyrockets. What's another way to say that? So paraphrasing, everybody, is the ability to change information or express information using other words, and this is an extremely important skill in the IELTS. So paraphrasing is extremely important in IELTS. This means to express the same idea using different words. Okay, there are 5 ways to do this. Okay, see your full course. All right, what do I mean by that? So again, on the website here that we're going to use in a little bit to do the reading as well. In the full course, I very, very highly recommend for those of you who are premium members to look at these key strategy lessons. They're extremely important, okay? They will introduce to you the lessons here, and you will, let me just jump to that one, okay? We want the second one here. Okay, so you want to read all of these. Critical thinking, visualization is here as well for the reading as well, why you need to visualize, so check that out. And then you will also find paraphrasing. Okay, so you can see how to paraphrase here with synonyms, antonym negatives, idioms, expressions, grammar, and the fifth one is description. You can't see the bottom ones here because they're off screen for you, but you can see here that you can use synonyms. That's a simple way, right? Like big, large, like vision, sight, what we said earlier, or visionary, futurist, okay? You can do antonym negatives like stay, don't go, okay? Or don't go there, avoid it, okay? You can paraphrase with idioms. I was extremely happy. I was over the moon, right? Expressions. You can paraphrase with grammar. Okay, I had the experience of visiting Italy. I have been to Italy. So grammar will paraphrase as well. And then we have descriptive. You need to practice all of these when you're getting ready for your IELTS, and you need to use them in your speaking, in your writing, okay? So that is all in your full course. Don't jump over those key strategies, everybody. Make sure you check them out before you get heavy into the actual reading, writing, speaking, listening. All right, very important. Very, very important. Okay, so with these questions, what you're actually doing is you're paraphrasing in your mind, okay? Now, a stock price skyrockets. What's another way to say that? Okay. All right. Alexi says significant increase of stock price. Yeah, even try to paraphrase stock price. So Alexi, ideally with very good paraphrasing, you have no word repetition. So you're not repeating any of the words in the original. So the company value greatly increases. That would be my paraphrase there, okay? The faster, the better you can do the paraphrasing, the faster, the better your IELTS. It's really that simple, okay? Paraphrasing is the #1 tool used by test makers, not just for IELTS, for every test, for your university exams as well. Paraphrasing is the #1 test maker tool. So training yourself to paraphrase, I studied psychometrics. I studied how to make exams specifically, and there are a lot of information about paraphrasing and how and what when you study psychometrics. Okay. All right, Chayani, it's not the company income, it's the company value. So stock prices reflect company value generally. So the company value greatly increases. Okay. All right, learning from another company's technology. Okay, that one. Try to do all of these, students, as fast as you can. The origins of Apple in telephone technology. Steve Jobs steals from Wozniak. Okay, Fuang, very good. Yeah, studying another businesses. Now, Fuang, watch where you put the apostrophe. Okay. okay? Or adapting instead of studying, right? Another business's knowledge, right? Fong, if you put it after the S, then it's going to be like many businesses, okay? All right. The origins of Apple in telephone technology. So Macintosh Foundation with telecommunications. Oh, we can just even say telecom. Okay. Macintosh Foundation in telecom. Now, some of you who are as old school as me might even know that Apple at one point was actually called Macintosh. Okay. Steve Jobs steals from Wozniak. Okay, now, of course, while we're doing this, you're probably starting to realize that, Steve Wozniak has something to do with Apple. So Apple is the key here, right? So Steve Jobs takes money from Wozniak. Sure. Okay. All right. Carolina says, I remember that. Yeah. When I was an elementary school student, we had some Macintosh computers in school. Okay, Steve Jobs takes money from Wozniak. All right, so we've paraphrased that. Now, again, this is just a strategy here at home. You're doing all of this paraphrasing on paper, okay? You're writing it down, you're checking it, you're making sure it's accurate. It's a great way to practice your vocabulary as well, increase your lexical resource, right? Now, choose no more than 2 words from the passage. So this is a fill in the blanks. Again, it's all paraphrased. Read it. All of this is in the passage. It gives us help. It gives us clarity. So Steve Wozniak's beginnings. Let's do this. Let's just read it. Apple is one of the biggest companies in the world. Though Steve has been the face of the company, it is actually Wozniak who provided a lot of the engineering and ability. Wozniak was born at a time decades before the boom in San Jose, an area which would come to be nicknamed something. Wozniak got his start in technology in the 1970s by making a device called that would allow for free long-distance calls. The profit from these devices was necessary so he could start the company that would change the world soon after. Then we have some multiple choice. Read the question, don't worry about the answers. How much money did Steve Jobs unfairly take from Steve Wozniak? So again, we realize, oh, hey, wait a second, that question and this question of stealing is kind of the same idea. And then we have the complete each sentence with the correct ending. Here again, just read the first half. Don't worry about the choices. The choices are confusing. We don't know which of the 5 are actually in the passage. So in just a few years after the time of its founding, Wozniak's something. There may not be an exact link from Wozniak's contribution to Apple to the company today. Something. Okay. So Wozniak, clearly a very important individual in the establishment and evolution of Apple. Let's find out. Let's read. All right, everybody, read with me, read aloud. Just the final tip here before we begin reading is practice aloud reading. So if you are in a place where you can use your voice, please use your voice. So practice lots of aloud reading before your IELTS. This helps your pronunciation, your learning, your fluency, okay, your speech. So it is very, very, very useful. All right, so read with me, read nice and loud, everybody. Here we go. Steve Wozniak, the visionary you've never heard of. Founded in 1976, Apple Computer, now Apple Inc., is one of the world's biggest companies. Whatever way biggest is measured, sales, market capitalization, cultural impact, or otherwise, Apple is top of the chart at or very near the top. For decades, Steve Jobs was the face of Apple. He was the person on stage promoting the iPod, iPhone, iPad, etc. Profoundly intelligent though he undoubtedly was, Jobs was not the brains behind Apple's technological accomplishment in the early years. Instead, it was Jobs' friend, Steve Wozniak, affectionately known as Woz, who provided much of the intellectual and technological ability that made Apple into an overnight success. Steve Wozniak was born in 1950 in San Jose, California, USA. Though his brilliance was clear from a young age, his geographic place of birth was a significant factor in his impact on the computing world. In 1950, San Jose was a small suburb of San Francisco with a population of under 100,000. Over the next 7 decades, San Jose's population would balloon by a factor of 10, and by over 20 when taking into account the metro population. This extreme growth was not an accident. Led by companies like Apple, San Jose became the epicenter of what came to be known as Silicon Valley, the beating heart of global technological advances in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Wozniak was gifted both intellectually and geographically. He had the intellectual ability to create and develop the devices he did, but he was also born into the exact location on the entire planet in which their development was taking hold and was valued. Wozniak's beginning in the world of technology was his development of what he called a blue box, which enabled a user to make long-distance calls at no cost. In the early 1970s, this was an incredible accomplishment. Wozniak, already together with his friend and business partner Jobs, sold over 200 of these blue boxes at a cost of $150 each, $928 in 2020. Without the profit from the blue boxes, Jobs admitted decades later there would have been no Apple. The relationship between Jobs and Wozniak was complicated. When the video game manufacturer Atari offered $100, $612 in 2020, for every chip that was eliminated from the circuit board, Jobs, who worked at Atari at the time, offered to split the income with Wozniak if he could reduce the number of chips used in the circuit board. Wozniak did, by 50. But Jobs told Wozniak Atari only awarded him $700 instead of $5,000 and gave Wozniak $350 instead of $2,500, pocketing the difference. Wozniak found out a decade later, but forgave Jobs. In the early to mid 1970s, Wozniak and Jobs worked out of Jobs' parents' garage on the first Apple computer. Wozniak was in charge of the technical end, while Jobs was tasked with the marketing. Wozniak had gained computer development experience and expertise through the Homebrew Computer Club, a Silicon Valley group that used the Altair 8800 microcomputer do-it-yourself kit. Based on Intel's 8080 microprocessor, one of the world's first, this framework would become the foundation of Apple's first computer. With money from the blue boxes, Wozniak's previous work at Hewlett-Packard, and the sale of Jobs' car, the two young men started Apple Computer. Within 4 years, the blink of an eye, in the time of an investor, Apple's value exceeded $1 billion. At the time, it was the fastest rise to that mark in history. In that short time, Wozniak had become a multi-millionaire, and it was largely due to his development of the cutting-edge and paradigm-shifting Apple II computer. The Apple II broke the barrier between those people who played around with computers as a hobby and the general public. It had color graphics, an integrated programming language, BASIC, and an optional 5.25-inch external floppy drive. Every family in the early 1980s wanted an Apple computer, and the value of Apple reflected this cultural value. Though Apple would go on to become one of the world's biggest companies in the coming decades, the journey was not smooth, and both Wozniak and Jobs would leave the company in the 1980s. Though Jobs would return to Apple with much fanfare amidst the production of his 21st century marvels such as the iPhone, Wozniak would not return, except in a so-called ceremonial capacity. Apple has changed markedly since Wozniak left the company in 1985. While it is difficult to draw a direct line between Wozniak's contributions to the company and, for example, the modern iPhone, it is clear that Apple would not exist in its current form without the technological brilliance that Steve Wozniak brought to the Jobs family garage so many decades ago. All right, students, so that is the reading. I hope you were able to follow along with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoying the IELTS reading is extremely important because that will engage your mind more, and I'm sure many of you have seen or even own an Apple device, so it's really, really good to have, okay? All right, everybody. So let's now do a bit of joint reading with our members, and then we'll do the questions together. Okay? All right. Zeverio Diva, welcome to our group of members, just in the nick of time. So let's do reading together and then answer the questions together. We'll do more strategy. We'll talk more tips as we do this. So this is how we're going to do the reading. I'm going to take some volunteers for the reading. Go to our website again. As I've mentioned, these websites power these live lessons, so it's great to join, great to become a member and a premium member of our package. Go to aehelp.com. Okay. Alexi Carolina has put some instructions there for everybody. So again, this is aehelp.com that we're using. And you want to click on the big red button to join that premium package just above my head there. Once you're there, you go to your My Student account. Okay, in your My Student account, you click on Student Partner Speaking here. Okay, and once you're in the Student Partner Speaking, then you can send me a message. You will see me in here as Master. Click on the little blue envelope that's right beside my name, and then send me a message. Say, I would like to volunteer. Okay. All right. We have not heard from Romelia in a long time, so let's see if Romelia is with us. Romelia is a premium student and a regular member. Romelia, let me reach out to you. Let's see if you're there. You can start the reading off for us. Romelia, are you there? I'm shouting at you. Let's take that caps lock off. All right. Romelia says yes. Okay, Romelia. Ring, ring. If you're there, Romelia, let me know. Pick up the phone. Lots of ringing, Romelia. I'm not sure what's going on, though. Oh, maybe now. Hi, Romelia.
Can you hear me?
I can, Romelia. That was a lot of ringing. Was it ringing lots for you as well, or was there maybe a connection, or I don't know. Sounds like somebody's visiting you. You have somebody at the door.
Yeah. No problem. Somebody else will go and answer.
Okay, I don't want to be the cause of somebody being stuck outside your building. Okay, Romelia. Well, I'm happy to have you here. We haven't spoken in we haven't.
Such a coincidence, because exactly in this moment I have somebody
Visiting. You're popular. You're
no, I wouldn't say.
yeah, no, it's good. All right, Romelia, I haven't talked to you in forever. How have you been?
So now a bit busy, but everything seems to be on track.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Have you done the IELTS over the last little while since we last talked, or do you have plans to do the IELTS sometime soon?
Yeah. Maybe next year, but I don't know. When. Probably in autumn, I feel ready. I don't know yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I will help you get there. Let's do some
Thank
reading.
you so much.
All right. Okay, Romelia, go ahead and read the title and the first body, or sorry, I should say the introductory paragraph. So whenever you're ready, you should see it on the screen. Read the title and the introduction, please.
Okay, I'm here, ready to ready to go. Wait a second. From paragraph A, yeah?
Yeah, and the title. Please read the title.
Yeah. Steve Wozniak, the visionary you've never heard of. Founded in 1976, Apple Computer, now Apple Inc., is one of the world's biggest companies. Whatever way biggest is measured, sales, market capitalization, cultural impact, or otherwise, Apple is top of the chart or very near the top. For decades, Steve Jobs was the face of Apple. He was the person on stage promoting the iPod, iPhone, iPod, etc. Profoundly intelligent, though, undoubtedly, Jobs was not the brain behind Apple's technological accomplishment in the early years. Instead, it was Jobs' friend Steve Wozniak, affectionately known as Woz, who provided much of the intellectual and technological abilities that made Apple into an overnight success.
Okay, very good. So, in your own words, Romelia, what does the author want to emphasize with this introduction? So, what is the emphasis of this introduction in your own words and in a simple sentence? Now, this is
that Steve Jobs at least wasn't alone in this way to success.
oh, poor Wozniak. I would not say it that way. All right. Oh, poor Wozniak. Can you try to say that a little bit differently? Focus on Steve Wozniak instead of Steve Jobs when you think about it.
Okay, the contribution of Wozniak was maybe more important that is known.
Okay, better. That's better.
Or it's underestimated somehow.
What
I don't know.
was Wozniak's importance to Apple? What did he give to Apple, according to this introduction?
Come up with his intelligence and technological knowledge on board.
Okay, so could we say Wozniak's intellectual and technological ability was fundamental to Apple's existence?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Can you repeat after me? Wozniak's intellectual and technological ability was fundamental, or we can say is fundamental, to Apple's creation. right?
Bosniak's intellectual and technological ability is fundamental for the development of Apple.
Perfect. So that would be the ideal response to this. So if I wanted to sum up the introduction here and what the author is really trying to tell us, it's basically saying, hey, look, we've got this company here that's arguably one of the greatest ever built. And here's a guy that was key to making this company, right? So this is what you want to do, okay? And this is, of course, not just information for Romelia, but it's for everybody. That when you're reading, it's extremely important that you're able to practice and do this effectively, where you finish a paragraph and you're able to summarize that paragraph in one, maybe two sentences, but hopefully one sentence, where it's very accurate. So you want that to be very accurate. And Romelia, if you're ever doing group practice, or if anybody ever finds themselves in a group doing IELTS or doing a reading like this, it's kind of like a book club. Have you ever been in a book club, Romelia?
Not really.
Okay. Do you know, have you ever heard of a book club? Have you heard about this?
Yeah. I've heard, but I've never tried firsthand, so to speak.
This is kind of what a book club actually does. So they read a book, everybody reads the same book, and then everybody gets together and they talk about the book. And they talk about the author's intent, and of course the characters and character development and the rest. And they debate. They debate what the intent of the author is. They debate what the characters and what they are. And that's really, it's interesting to do that. I've never done that as a hobby. I've done it in my studies in school, but I've never done it as a hobby. But that would be great for IELTS. I would highly recommend it. If anybody has the chance to join a book club, especially in English. Wow. How great, right, Romelia?
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Check it out, Romelia. See, I bet you there. I bet you, because you live in a big city, right?
In the capital city.
Yeah, you're in Bucharest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you there's an English book club where you live if you look around. I bet you. So check it out. See what you come up with. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll definitely do this.
All right. Thank you so much, Romelia. Have a lovely rest of your day. It was great to hear your voice.
You too.
Okay. Bye, Romelia.
Bye. Thank you so much. All
right. That was great. Okay. Good. Alexi says, Romelia is so positive. All those thumbs up. Yeah, we haven't heard from her in so long. Alexi, let's give you a shot. We don't want to annex our members here. We want to make sure that they're included. So, Alexi, are you ready to continue? Now, I promise everybody that we will get to the questions, but before we get to the questions, you need to comprehend, okay? For high IELTS scores, comprehension is key. All right. Alexi, it sounds like you picked up. It was so fast, but I don't hear your voice. Not sure what's going on. Romelia took a while to connect as well. Maybe the connection's taking a minute? I don't know. Alexi, I'll circle back to you. Check your connection, okay? See if it's something on your end, and I'll come back to you. See if it's your mic or. Yeah, I can't hear you either, Alexi. So I'll try somebody else, and then we'll go from there. So let's go with Chayani here. We've got lots of time here, students. So hang in there. Chayani, are you ready? Sometimes, students, if you've been using your computer lots, the internet lots, the website lots, it's worth doing a quick refresh on the page as well, so or even doing a shift refresh. Or if you're using a VPN, reconnect your VPN. Hi, Chayani.
Hey, Adrian.
How are you?
Not that much. How about you?
Not too bad. You have to say not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not that much I think maybe what you're trying to say is not much going on.
Not much going on.
Yeah, that's the natural way to express that. Not that much. I get it, but kind of weird, right? So not too much going on, or you could say same as usual. Same as usual.
Same as usual.
Yeah. I guess you're working lots, studying lots, right, Chani?
Right, sir.
All right, good for you. That's a good way to be. It's a good norm. All right, Chayani, I've brought up the second paragraph here, the first body paragraph, paragraph B. When you're ready, jump right into it, and please read, nice and loud.
Can you scroll up, sir? I can see it, the first sentence.
Scroll down, maybe? You should be able to. So I can see it on my screen.
It's a quite delay from YouTube. Okay. Steve Wozniak was born in 1950 in San Jose, California, USA. Though his brilliance was clear from a young age, his geographic place of birth was a significant factor in his impact on the computing world. In 1950, San Jose was a small suburb of San Francisco with a population of under 100,000. Over the next 7 decades, San Jose's population would balloon by a factor of 10 and by over 20 when taking into account the metro population. This extreme growth was not an accident. Led by companies like Apple, San Jose became the epicenter of what came to be known as the Silicon Valley, the beating heart of global technological advances in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Wozniak was gifted both intellectually and geographically. He had the intellectual ability to create and develop the devices he did, but he was also born into the exact location on the entire planet in which their development was taking hold and was valued.
All right. So again, I ask you, what is the emphasis? What is the main goal of the author with this body paragraph, Chani, in your own words?
I think the author present how Steve Wozniak luckily was born in the city called San Jose that is the epicenter of technology.
Okay. Yes, you're on the right track. Simplify it. Can you say the same concept but more concisely? So in a half that length.
I think the author talk about the Wozniak was born in the San Jose as the epicenter of the technology.
Yeah. So Wozniak's place of birth was a key factor in the success of his career and Apple, right?
Right.
It's Jose. In Spanish, the J sound is h, h. They pronounce it. Spanish speakers pronounce it as a h sound. San Jose, not Jose. Just correcting that because I know we've got lots of Spanish speakers, and Carolina probably is going like this when we see Jose. So it's in San Jose. San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah, Jose is a name as well in Spanish. It's Saint Joe, I believe, is what it translates to. It's San Jose. Yeah, you can see Carolina having a good chuckle there in the chat. Okay, so yeah, Wozniak's place of birth was a key factor in the success of his career. Absolutely. Why? What was going on in San Jose?
What I said before, because it is the balloon of the technology is balloon over.
Yeah, it even
over 100.
Yeah, it even has this very famous name. Do you remember what that name is? What we call the San Jose region in the U.S.? It's quite famous.
Silicon Valley.
Have you heard about this in Indonesia?
No, is unfamiliar.
Okay, it's quite well known. So if you're in the computer world, if you deal with computers, it's almost guaranteed that you will hear of it. Many computer programmers, for example, dream of one day moving to Silicon Valley for their work. That's where a lot of the big companies have major headquarters, like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and those guys. Okay, all right, Chayani, thank you so much for reading. Good idea, good comprehension, be concise. So practice being concise. That will help you to be a lot faster in the reading section. So you'll be able to do a lot more in that 20 minutes. Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right.
Sir, I have some question before I quit.
Don't quit before you go. Yeah, don't quit though. What's your question?
So I'm purposing for I will take the IELTS exam maybe in the May, but I have like confidence, especially in the part writing and reading. Can I achieve like at least 6?
Oh, I think you can. Yes, I think. Yeah. You'll be able to get 6 for sure. You should be aiming higher. You should be aiming for 7, 7.5. I think, China, at least in those sections. Be confident. You have good English. First of all, focus on those parts. So if reading and writing are you find your areas of weakness, then focus on reading and writing. So do exercises where you do some reading. So for example, you read a passage like this one, and then write a summary about the passage. So take your pen, pencil, or your laptop and write a nice 200, 300 word paragraph, one big paragraph that summarizes the entire passage. So for example, so far we would write, this passage emphasizes the importance of Steve Wozniak, an unknown or unpopular person who was fundamental to the establishment of Apple computers. He was born at a time when technology started to boom in the perfect place, Silicon Valley, known as, or San Jose, known as Silicon Valley. So you summarize it and then practice that summary. It's really good exercise for both your reading and your writing at the same time, kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay?
Okay, yes, to be honest, well, when you are reading the wall passage, I draw some picture and right now it's a kind of mess.
Good. That's okay. As long as you're drawing the picture, it's okay. Maybe what you would have right now is you would have something like Steve Wozniak's face, and then you would have him in Silicon Valley full of computers. Okay, so something like that. All right, and he's very smart. He's got a big brain. Okay, so absolutely, drawing pictures is good. Okay, Chani, keep it up. I'm sure you will get over 6 in May when you sit your IELTS. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.
All right. Encourage Chayani, everybody, in the chat. Tell her, yes, Chayani, you will get over 6. I did the IELTS. You have great English. I'm sure you'll get over 6. Right? I'm sure that some of you who have done the IELTS and who hear Chayani speaking know that, oh, yeah, she'll get over 6. Okay. Amra, yes, you can. Are you ready? Moving along nicely. Lots of you will get a chance. If you are a member and you're not joining the chat, please do let me know so that that I know that you're a member. Alexi, I'm not sure what's going on with your connection, but it seems like everything's okay on my end. So check out your end, okay? All right.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Amra. How are you?
I'm doing well. What about you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I played a great game of hockey with my friends yesterday, but my team lost. I'm still doing okay. It was 9-10. It was such a hard. It was a 1 hour, 40-minute game, and the end was we lost 9-10. So it was a painful loss. But anyway, I'm doing great because it was good exercise. What do you do for regular exercise, Amra?
I'm a big fan of playing football whenever I have free time. But I do it maybe once a month because I have a hectic schedule and because of my university.
I see. Well, as a friendly advice, Amra, make time for exercise. It will always help you in every part of life. Okay, it will help you greatly. Exercise is good. At the end of the day, our brain is a machine. It needs good blood circulation. It needs good nutrients, and for that, we need to move. We need to move. Yeah. So I highly encourage it. Okay. All right, Amra. It's funny, you know, like some people are like, well, what are we doing? Reading or life hacks? No, we're doing reading, but you know, in all honesty, doing exercise helps our reading. So it helps us to focus, helps us to think better. So that's why I said that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Amra, I've got paragraph C up. Whenever you're ready, go for it. Jump right in.
Wozniak's beginning in the world of technology was his development of what he called a blue box, which enabled a user to make long-distance calls at no cost. In the early 1970s, this was an incredible accomplishment. Wozniak, already together with his friend and business partner Jobs, sold over 200 of these blue boxes at a cost of $150 each, $928 in 2020. Without the profit from the blue boxes, Jobs admitted decades later they would have been no Apple.
Okay, a nice little short paragraph. All right, Amra, what is the main goal of the author here?
I think that the author wants to say that without the creation of blue boxes and gaining profit from these devices, the Apple wouldn't exist today.
Yeah, and there's actually a little bit more here. So we can always, you know, this is where if we're in a book club and I were speaking with you, I'd be like, okay, you're right, Amra, but I think that there's one more key piece here. It's already showing Wozniak's importance. Notice how Wozniak is the first word in the paragraph. It says Wozniak's beginning in the world. So it's already like Wozniak was the key to Apple. If Wozniak had not created this blue box, there would be no Apple, no matter, you know, how smart everybody else was in Apple. So it was Wozniak's genius of this blue box, this little invention that was already the very, very first step to having the finances for Apple, right? So Wozniak, so we could say, like, to be even more precise, we could say Wozniak's blue box funded Apple, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Which is kind of funny if you think about it, because I'm not sure how legal that little blue box was. Right? It's like, hey guys, you don't have to pay for long distance, right? Like you don't have to pay for satellite TV. We'll just take the information. It sounds to me like the first torrent. Right? It's like the torrent of telephones. Free telephone. Okay, so Wozniak's blue box founded Apple. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Amra, let's do D. Okay, jump right in.
I'm sorry, there is a short delay.
No, it's coming. It's coming.
The relationship between Jobs and Wozniak was complicated. When the video game manufacturer Atari offered $100, $612 in 2020, for every chip that was eliminated from the circuit board, Jobs, who worked at Atari at the time, offered to split the income with Wozniak if he could reduce the number of chips used in the circuit board. Wozniak did by 50, but Jobs told Wozniak Atari only awarded him $700 instead of $5,000 and gave Wozniak $350 instead of $2,500, pocketing the difference. Wozniak found out a decade later, but forgave Jobs.
How much did Jobs steal from him?
$2,050.
2,500. 150, right? Because he gave him 350. Doesn't seem like too much, right, Amra? But Atari offered 100, which was $612 in today's money. Actually, today that would probably be like $3,000 because we have such inflation going on right now. It's terrible. But anyway, let's stick with this 612. So according to today's money, how much did Jobs steal from him, do you think, roughly?
Maybe 13 or 14,000.
Right, it would be 21.5 times 612, right?
Yeah.
That would be the math there, whatever that comes out to, right? So like 14 grand. How would you feel if your buddy stole 14 grand from you, Amram?
No, probably not good.
Right. Hey, hats off to Wozniak, right? We probably wouldn't have Apple if Wozniak wasn't just such a chill guy. He's like, yeah, whatever, I forgive you. So incredible people in the world, right? To make incredible events happen. So why am I doing this math? Amra, what do you think? Why did I just do this math? What was the goal of that? It wasn't just to be silly. There was purpose here. So why did I get you to do this math?
To imagine how money was that. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good answer. To encourage you to be an active reader. Okay, one of the reasons why a lot of IELTS students and a lot of people in general have troubles comprehending or understanding what they read is because they don't actively engage the information enough when they're reading. So they read, they know English, they know the words, they know the vocabulary, they know the grammar, they understand it. They finish the passage and then they're like, what did I read? Something about Wozniak. That's because they're not actively using their minds to engage the passage. So what I encourage everybody to do is engage the reading because you have to actively read to be able to answer at the Band 8, Band 9 level in 20 minutes. So it's this kind of thinking or thought process that, you know, an active reader should be doing when they're looking at this information. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Amra?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so and it's literally called active reading, and of course in the listening section, if we want to expand, it's called active listening. So active reading, active listening, and it's not something I'm inventing. It exists. If you go online and you type in active reading skills, it will give you a lot of different tips and tricks on how to be more effective active readers. Okay, Amra?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Amra, thank you so much for volunteering, and go out there and play some football. Get that blood circulation going. All right.
Certainly, sir.
And win. Don't lose like me. Win the game. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Amra.
Thank you so much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. All right. That was good. Let's give Amra a thumbs up. Okay. Let's take the next person. Let's jump in with Fuang. All right, Fuang, are you ready? Let's go. We've got time. We're going to finish this as much as we can. So Mira, Dylan, Alexi, hang in there, okay? All right. Carolina, I think that's a handball player that you've got there on the emoji. Fuang, if you're with us, I know it's getting a bit, well, no, it's not too bad there yet in Vietnam for a time. Hi, Fuang.
Hi, sir.
How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, sir?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking. Fuang, do you play sports?
Yes, I do, sir.
What do you play?
Well, I have been playing basketball and badminton and also jumping ropes for at least 3 years.
Awesome. Do you do it regularly, like at least a few times a week?
Well, usually at the weekends, my friends and I will hanging out and play some sport like basketball.
Okay, awesome. Glad to hear it. Fong, that means your brain is working awesome, so let's get into it. Whenever you're ready, start with paragraph E.
Okay, sir. In the early to mid-1970s, Wozniak and Chope worked out of Chope parent garage on the first Apple computer. Wozniak were in charge of technical aims, while Chope were tasked with marketing. Wozniak has gained computer development experience and expertise through the Home Computer Club, a Silicon Valley group that used the Intel's 8800 microcomputer to its-yourself kits, based on Intel 8080's microprocessor, one of the world's first. This framework would become the foundations of Apple's first computer. With money from the Blue Forces, Wozniak's previous work in the health tech, uh, tech cars and the sales of Chope cars, the two young men started Apple Computer.
Okay, good. Fong, first tip, when you're doing the reading, especially in the real IELTS, don't worry about pronunciation, especially not for names like Hewitt Packard, okay? Doesn't matter, you just read through it, all right? Fong, what's the main goal of the author here?
I think Wozniak and Steve Jobs they start their business, sir.
Okay, so it's about the start of Apple, yeah,
Yes, sir. I think
from
so.
the garage. And what else?
While Wozniak in charge of technical aims, and Jobs were tasked with marketing.
Kind of. Notice those names though, right? So it says there's the Homebrew Computer Club. There's the Altair 8800 microcomputer. There's the Intel 8080 microprocessor. There's the Hewitt Packard. Okay, so it's listing these names. What are these names?
The electronics device, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the start of Apple from the garage using the knowledge of other products. Would that be fair to say that? So they were using knowledge from looking at other products to start Apple from the garage. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so that was a redundant question. It was a yes. It was a yes answer there. Okay, so Fuan, make sure that when you see a list of names like that in a paragraph, so Hewitt Packard, Intel, even if you don't know them, it's okay. But you should realize that there's a list of names here for some reason. The author's trying to say something with this list of names. It has an importance, right? And here it's like the knowledge of other products. Okay. All right. Okay. Fuan, keep up the good work. Pay attention because you're going to see where this becomes important for some of the answers. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Bye, Fuan, and careful with that traffic. Okay.
Bye-bye, sir. Have
Okay.
a good day.
You too. Bye. All right. So noisy. I don't know how Fuang does it. It would take me quite some time to get used to that traffic. All right. Let's see. Dylan, I know, is also one of our members. Mira is a returning student. Let's give and Niladri is a premium student. So I'm going to jump back up to Niladri here and give Niladri a chance as a. We don't want Niladri to feel missed out. Okay, Niladri, are you ready? If you're there, let me know. I don't know if we've ever spoken to Niladri. Maybe we have. We're almost at the questions here, everybody, so hang in there. We're going to get to those. All right, Niladri, if you're there, let's get in there. Thanks for the thumbs up for Fuang, everybody. Very studious. Niladri, what happened? It sounded like you picked up and then you hung up. I don't know what happened there. Let's try Mira. Mira, are you there? And are you ready? Okay. Naladri, I'll circle back to you if I have the chance. If not, don't worry. There'll be more opportunities for sure. Mira, if you're there, I believe we spoke with Mira yesterday. We had a good connection, so we'll see if Mira is available.
Sir, can you hear me?
I can, Mira. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, Mira, good for you coming back and being very studious. You will see paragraph F coming up on your screen momentarily. When you do, you can start with within 4 years.
Mm-hmm. So is it the paragraph E, right?
Nope, it's paragraph F.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right. So within 4 years, the blink of an eye in the time of an investor, Apple's value exceeded $1 billion. At that time, it was the fastest rise to the mark in the history. In that short time, Wozniak has become a multimillionaire, and it was largely due to his development of the cutting-edge and paradigm-shifting Apple II computer. The Apple II broke the barrier between those people who played around with computers as a hobby and the general public. It had color graphics, an integrated programming language, BASIC, and an optional 5.25-inch external floppy drive. Every family in the early 1980s wanted an Apple computer, and the value of Apple reflected this cultural value.
Okay, what is the main goal of this paragraph, Mira?
So perhaps it's the introduction of the Apple II computer model and the basic characteristics of it, why it possessed such a valuable quality for many families.
So Mira, what you've just done is basically, here's the target. If we imagine this as the paragraph, and this is the goal of the paragraph here, the bullseye in the center, and you're shooting and you're going pow, 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 like that, but you're not hitting the bullseye. That's not good. Okay, so you're all around it, but you're not hitting the bullseye. Ideally, when you're doing a reading exam, you want to hit that bullseye and you want to hit it right in the center right away. I don't think it is. One way, Mira, so one tip, and you have to be careful with this tip because it's not always true, but 80% of the time it is true, okay? The paragraph is broken into, especially body paragraphs, I should say body paragraphs. They're broken into a topic sentence and then supporting points. The supporting points are explanations and examples, okay? So the body paragraphs are usually about what you see in the topic sentence. And in most cases, not always, paragraph about.
So probably the body paragraph is about the reason for the success of exceeding billions of dollars.
Which is what?
Which is the Apple II model.
Yeah, it's called Apple II computer.
Okay.
But it's fine. You don't have to. So that's just me being technical. But it's when I was a kid, I still have the picture of the Apple II in front of me. Apple's huge success to be the first billion-dollar company in just 4 years due to the Apple II computer, which was, why was it so popular? So why did it make such an incredible amount of money, this Apple II? What made it special?
So obviously there were some special features like the
those are the details.
The graphics.
Mira,
right?
Those are details. Those are the details. That's kind of the least important information. It was the first what kind of computer? First family computer. It was the first computer that families wanted, that the average person wanted. So before then, computers were for businesses, for companies, for people who were tech savvy. So it was the first computer that was like, I'm just this guy, and I want this computer to play with, to type with, to maybe play video games with. So it was the first personal computer. It was the first PC, right? So if I want to summarize this, then I would say Apple became $1 billion company overnight. It's another way to simplify in the blink of an eye, because of the first family computer, the Apple II. Okay, so that would be the most concise way for me to summarize this entire paragraph into one sentence. So just repeat after me. Apple became $1 billion company overnight because of the first family computer, the Apple II.
Apple became $1 billion company overnight because of the first family computer, the Apple II.
Okay, would you agree that that's the gist of this body paragraph?
Sure, sir, you're absolutely right.
Okay, so it's really, really important that when you're doing reading, bullseye, not around the bullseye, okay?
We'll try to.
We'll do it right now. Read paragraph G.
Okay. Though Apple would go on become one of the world's biggest companies in the coming decades, the journey was not smooth, and both Wozniak and Jobs would leave the company in the 1980s, though Jobs would return to Apple with much fanfare amidst the production of his 21st century marvels, such as iPhone. Wozniak would not return except in a so-called ceremonial capacity. Apple has changed markedly since Wozniak left the company in 1985. While it is difficult to draw a direct line between Wozniak's contributions to the company and, for example, the modern iPhone, it's clear that the Apple would not exist in its current form without the technological brilliance that Steve Wozniak brought to Jobs. Could you please scroll a bit down? Yeah, that Steve Wozniak brought the Jobs family garage so many decades ago.
Okay, what is the main goal of this conclusion?
Obviously, it's the summary of the valuable contribution of Steve Wozniak to the success of the company, and the reasons why it became so popular. Also, there were some details of the Steve Jobs and Wozniak returning to the country.
That's the unimportant part, Mira. That's the part where we're just shooting around the bullseye. So notice how, remember what I said, that the topic sentence is the key to the paragraph, and in the body paragraphs, we find that at the beginning. The introduction and the conclusion are unique. The introduction and the conclusion, the key is often at the end of the paragraph rather than the beginning. There's a reason for that. So here, it's near the end. So basically, it says that the brilliance that Steve Wozniak brought to the Jobs family garage is key to Apple being the company that it is today. And you started with that, so you recognized it, and that was really good, Mira. So you said Apple's success is linked to Wozniak's early contributions to the company. Absolutely. Okay. All right, Mira, you're getting the hang of it. That's good. Make sure to exercise and practice this, okay, before your test. So go through, and it's really good to do this in partners. So each paragraph, identify the main idea, okay?
Yeah, thank you. I'll try my best.
All right. Don't try. Follow Master Yoda from Star Wars. He says, there is no try. There is only do or do not. So you just have to do, Mira, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Have a great rest of the day, okay?
Same to you, sir. Goodbye.
All right. Bye, Mira. Okay, everybody. Let's get to some questions here. Nice and quick. I'm going to give Dylan a chance, and then I'll circle back to Audrey and Alexi. Hopefully we've got a bit of time. Dylan, are you ready? We have to get going on this. We've got about 10 minutes left in this class, everybody. And in reality, you have about 10 minutes. You should have about 10 minutes for the questions in the IELTS exam. So it's about roughly half and half. So 10 minutes on reading, 10 minutes on answering questions. You should not be taking more than an average of 40 to 45 seconds per question. That's a lot of time, okay? All right, Dylan, here we go.
Hello?
Hi, Dylan.
Hello, sir.
How are you today?
Excited, as always.
All right. Okay, Dylan, we're going to answer some questions here. Now, we've done a lot of active reading. So as I went through each paragraph, we talked about, the main goal of the paragraph. That's a very, very important skill, especially for these types of questions that we're going to look at right now, where it's asking us which paragraph contains the following information. In many cases, the statements are the main ideas of the paragraph, okay? So whenever you're ready, go ahead and read question 14.
Information about Wozniak's youth.
Okay. Is that coming from the first, second, or third part of this passage?
It's coming, it was in paragraph B.
So kind of the first part, right? What does that paragraph talk about?
It talked about the place that Wozniak was born and the importance of the place, because this place ended up being Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, that's right. We even remember it was Chayani who read that one, right? We talked about it. Good. Now, it sounds like you're 100%. You're like, I'm 100%. Whenever you're 100% in the IELTS, you just mark it and go. Now, I do just recommend quickly checking to make sure that you don't accidentally make a mistake with the paragraph by chance. So you look at B because you thought it was B, and then Steve Wozniak was born in 1950 in San Jose. Perfect. Great. You move on. Don't waste time. Don't look any further. Okay, number 15. Read that one for me, please.
A stock price skyrockets.
Okay, first, second, or third part of the passage. So the first one, third, the middle part, or the end. So beginning, middle, or end. Where's this coming from?
It was in the end, in the passage F.
Okay, so you're thinking somewhere near the end. It's F and G. What was the information specifically that you remember?
I remember that this happened in 4 years, which was nothing for an investor, and their earnings exceeded over $1 billion.
Okay, great. Yeah, very nice, Dylan. Okay, notice everybody how, as we're doing this now, we're not having to search. So Dylan's not having to skim and scan. She's just able to, pardon my snapping, but really click with the information. And notice how Dylan isn't talking about, oh, I read the word youth. But Dylan said, no, I read about where he was born, his childhood, Silicon Valley. So it's the processing of the information. Here, Dylan is not saying, oh yeah, I remember the word skyrockets. No, it wasn't skyrockets. Dylan remembers that in 4 years it went to $1 billion, the company value. So it was F, right? Now again, we quickly check. And it says within 4 years, the blink of an eye. Fantastic. So when you're doing it this way, Dylan, even if you took, let's say, 12 minutes to read the passage, identify the main ideas in each paragraph, your time to answer questions becomes much faster and your confidence is much higher. That's the key here. And that's what you want to be in the IELTS. You don't want to feel unconfident in your answers, and you don't want to be searching for all your answers because that takes too long and doesn't end with high scores. Let's keep going. Dylan, number 16.
Learning from another company's technology.
Okay, so which paragraph was that? Beginning, middle, or end?
I suppose it was in the middle, paragraph E. I remember that they used tools of Intel to learn from it, and they applied it to their product.
Yeah, that was the one that Phuong read. And Phuong, if you're still here, remember what I said. When you see that list of words, this is what I mentioned. When you start seeing that, like you see Hewlett Packard, Intel microprocessor, and it said based on Intel's 8080 microprocessor, right? So you have all of this. Then the start of Apple from the garage using the knowledge of other products. using the knowledge of other products is literally what we paraphrased here. And this wasn't even my paraphrase. I think this was Fuang's paraphrase at the very beginning of the class. I think Fuang said studying another business's knowledge. So that's where all of these tips come together that I was talking about. Yeah, absolutely. And that was, what was it? It was paragraph E, right? Yes. Okay. So again, a lot faster with a lot of confidence, right? So E, and then we move on. Okay, Dylan, 17, whenever you're ready.
Okay. The origins of Apple in telephone technology. To be honest, I'm not sure about that one. It could be the last paragraph, the last part. I marked it as G here, but I'm not sure about it.
All right. What's the Okay, fair enough. So you're not sure. Now, this is where it gets complicated in the IELTS, because this is where you have to check, right? So if you think it's G, you would go to G, and then you would see if there is any information about the telephone here. And you would quickly discover that there isn't. Okay, there's nothing about telephones here. Now, you look at the question again, and it says the origins. Origins means what, Dylan? The
starting point?
The starting
maybe?
point. Yeah, the starting point. If I'm talking about the starting point of Apple as the author, if it's not at the end of this passage, where would be the other logical location for it?
In the beginning.
In the beginning of the passage, right? Yeah, it would make sense, right? I'm talking about the foundation of Apple. So it would be A, B, maybe C, right? If it's 7 or 8 body paragraphs like this. So it'd be the first third, the beginning. This was explained very clearly, so it shouldn't take too long. I even made kind of a joke about this. Remember the little box? Little blue box?
Oh, blue box.
Yeah, remember the purpose of that blue box?
Free calls for everyone.
Free calls for everyone. Yeah, hey, free calls for everyone. Whatever happened to that world? All right. Cell phones are so expensive today. Okay, so that was somewhere in the beginning, and now you'll probably realize, like, oh, okay, that was paragraph C, right? So the blue box, right, as he called it in paragraph C. So that was C. And, these are the types of questions. So if you're stuck on this one, this is the type of question where you'd want to, spend that extra minute. So B, F, E for question 14, 15, 16. That should be very quick for you. You were very confident. It should only take you a minute. This is where you could spend that extra minute to make sure you get the right answer. Okay, pay attention, use logic. Okay. All right, one more, number 18. Can you read that one for us?
18, Steve Jobs steals from Wozniak. This was paragraph D.
How much did he steal?
2,150.
See how well we remember? Right? We all remember Mr. Jobs. We all remember. God rest his soul. Poor guy. No longer alive. But we remember active reading. Remember what I was teaching at that point? If you read actively, it stays with you for sure. And it was 2,150, closer to 14 grand in today's money. That was paragraph D. There's our math right there. So no question. So we don't need to panic. So we can mark that as D and move on. Now, here, the only question you actually had trouble with, Dylan, was 17, the origins of Apple. And in the real exam, what you might want to do, especially if you're thinking it's G, where you're quite a bit off, instead of taking 2 minutes to figure that out, just leave it. Make sure you remember to come back to it. So you mark B, F, E, D confidently, and then you do the next questions. And then at the end, depending on how much time you have, you go back and you look at the question that you're not sure of. That's going to be the most effective way to maximize your score. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because oftentimes in the IELTS, when you do the other parts, so when you do the rest of the questions, one of them might actually help you to recognize that, oh yeah, that was the blue box. I remember now, that was paragraph. So it's just faster than trying to skim read the whole passage. You don't want to be skim reading the whole passage, okay? That's the absolute last possible situation that you want to be in, is skim reading the whole passage, okay?
Okay.
All right. Because too many students do that. Too many students skim read the passage over and over again, and that's just an absolute disaster. So that's not what you want to do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Dylan, thank you so much for helping me out with those questions. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, sir. If you have time, I have a question.
Go for it.
But if you have time.
Go for it. Go for it.
I have 18 days until my exam. Do you think that I can get band 5 in writing?
It's very difficult for me to answer because I would have to see your writing, Dylan. Based on your English, on your verbal English, I would guess yes, but I have to see your written English. What I recommend is using this Task 1, Task 2 writing service. Just pay the $15 to get at least one Task 2 essay edited with feedback, and then you'll have a much better idea of what you're doing well, what you need to improve, and what you can expect for your score. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Dylan. We'll talk to you soon. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye, Dylan. All right, everybody. I am out of time. So those remaining questions, this body paragraph, paragraph completion question, and these remaining multiple choice questions, you can do these. Watch the video and do these in your study time. Send me the answers, and then I will send you the answer key. Okay, that's why I'm leaving them on the board here for a moment, so you can check the video and answer those. Alexi and Nadria, I haven't forgot that you didn't have a chance to connect. I will keep that in mind for the upcoming classes, so don't give up. Students, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. You will find our practice exams there, and as you can see, we use the websites for much of what we do in these lessons, so make sure to click those big red buttons to join our premium package. Do yourself a favor. It's a one-time payment. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. General IELTS students, gieltshelp.com. Your reading is a bit different than the academic, so make sure you're in the right place and click that button if you're in general IELTS. Students, I will be back after a short break, 27 minutes, with listening, and that listening continues from our last week's part 1, part 2. We're going to continue with the more challenging part 3, part 4 aspects, and we'll talk strategy, we'll talk tips, we'll maximize your band scores and help you improve. Come back and hang out with me. In the meantime, in the break, grab some water, stretch your legs, aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Subscribe. The next class is for subscribers chat, so please do subscribe. I'm Adrian, and I will see you soon. Thank you, members. Thank you, moderators. Bye for now.